Hi, welcome to Jeremy's Tech Channel, and today we're checking out Ubuntu 22.04 LTS. Alright guys, it is Ubuntu season. Every time Ubuntu does an update, whether with the LTS, which stands for long-term support, or with the regular point releases, a lot of other distributions are connected to those as well. So you're going to see a lot of these distributions running updates over the next weeks and months. So just be prepared. It's officially Ubuntu season. I'm calling it. So what we're going to do today, we're going to check out the website. Then we are going to run through and spin the virtual machine up, check some things out in the live environment, see what's going on, and see if it's right for us. So here is the website. And look, this is a big deal for a lot of people because Ubuntu long-term support, you hold on to these kinds of distributions, these kinds of long-term support, you hold on to them for a very long time. That's why people like to use them. And so you'll go get ready to download, you go to the website, you come here to this piece, you'll see that Ubuntu 22.04 LTS, it's the latest version of Ubuntu for desktop PCs and laptops. LTS stands for long-term support, which you know the deal with that, which means 5 years until April 2027 of free security maintenance updates guaranteed. And I believe if you pay for some of their support that Canonical provides, you might be able to extend that longer than that. So for some people, that is a really big deal, and that's why LTSs are a big deal for a lot of the community. I also wanted to quickly point out that there are alternative downloads. So there's a network installer, there's a BitTorrent as well, if you prefer to download those pieces that way. And also of note, there are some community versions that have some other desktop environments. Today we're going to check out what it comes with, okay? So let's move in to the live environment. I've already booted it up here. This virtual machine is set up with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 8 cores. I'm just going to move right into the installer, guys. Calamaris installer, you know the deal. Let's get right in. Let's walk through this installer. If this is your first time, you're like, hey, what's this Ubuntu thing? What is this Linux thing? You may be nervous about going through the install process, what it's like. So just quickly, if it gets long, I will go ahead and speed up the video so it doesn't feel like you waste your time, but I'll leave it on so that you can see what the process looks like. All right. So I'm going to click Install Ubuntu. You get your keyboard layout. You do a normal installation or a minimal installation. It also says you can download updates while installing Ubuntu and installing third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. If you have tried to install another distribution and your Wi-Fi card isn't working, try Ubuntu or something like this that has proprietary drivers for your Wi-Fi card and see if that's working for you. And this is telling me I'm going to erase the entire disk. You also have some advanced features here. You can create or resize your partitions yourself or choose multiple partitions for Ubuntu. So you can use ZFS, okay, or use LVM with the new Ubuntu installation, and we will install. Let's go on. Are you sure you want to erase your disk? Yes, I am. Thank you very much. All right. Now we're going through the rest of the setup process for our install, including setting up our user. And you put in your password. And now we are installing Ubuntu on the virtual machine. It says it's almost finished copying files. Maybe I won't have to speed this video up. The past couple I've done, that's not been necessary. I'm just going to let this run, guys. It says almost finished copying files. I'm going to see what happens here. It's been a long time since I've installed Ubuntu on its own. I've installed Ubuntu-based distributions recently, but not Ubuntu on its own. You can click and kind of just get a sense of what's happening on the terminal side by selecting that little arrow there. And now it's going through, retrieving files, making these pieces ready to go and updated. And they try not to keep you bored. They try to give you some information on these little welcome screen pieces here with your install process. And there is a bit of polish here that I really do appreciate. Ubuntu is big, guys. There are a lot of people who use it, whether it's in the server space or whether it's in the desktop space when it comes to Linux. On top of that, there are many distributions that use Ubuntu as their base. You need to be aware of the weight of Ubuntu. I bet if you are interested in Linux regularly and researching Linux on YouTube, you've probably seen about at least a half dozen Ubuntu LTS reviews by now, and I'm a little behind as far as that. But, I wanted to get a sense of it, and I also needed to do research myself because I'm new at this too, guys. That's kind of the approach I'm going to be taking with this walkthrough. I'm going to be taking it as a new user who have some familiar elements that I know as far as GNOME and as far as apt and some of those pieces that I'm used to, but I'm going to walk into this just like anyone else. And I tell you what, it looks like it's close. I'm so tempted to speed this up because it's almost done. Do you really want to spend another minute or two waiting for this to be done? Let's just let it be. Let it be, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Jammy Jellyfish, let it be. For new users, if you have the option to watch the terminal go through and do the installation, I suggest you do it. You might learn something. All right, restart. Restarting with the Jammy Jellyfish. Booting up the virtual hard disk. That's their new graphic, their little new logo there. For some people not like it, don't bother me. And this is what you are greeted with when you come in with Jammy Jellyfish. You get greeted with this piece here. You can go ahead and set up your online accounts, your classics that you know. Do you want to send system information to Canonical or not? This is a personal choice for you. In this walkthrough, I'm going to say no. You've got location services here. I am going to leave this off for this walkthrough. Here you go. You're ready to go. You can use software to install apps like these, making sure new users know they can get their Zoom, they can get their VLC, their Discord, their OBS Studio, their Microsoft Teams. I'm going to go ahead and click this open software now because that's what I would do if I were in a new person's shoes. Software catalog is being downloaded. Even this piece right here is something of, would you call it controversial? I don't know if you'd call it controversial. There are pieces that Canonical, the company behind Ubuntu, that they are supporting called Snap, and it's a way to install applications and, for lack of an overly generalized term, a sandbox of the application. It can be updated on its own, separate from the rest of the system. So it's something that Ubuntu pushes pretty strongly. There are other options like Flatpak and app images that you should be aware of, but you should know that Ubuntu uses Snap for those kinds of packages, and you can still use the Debian Ubuntu repositories as well. I already see here there is some updates. There's a quick update. Let's just check out the update quickly. And I'm going to click Update All. It's asking for a password. It's installing Snapd. Snap, pack, snaps, snappy. Something else you should note, that Firefox comes shipped as a snap pack, or as a snap. I keep wanting to say snap pack, like snack pack. I don't know why I'm doing that. Sorry, guys. One thing that you might notice when you open up a snap pack, why do I keep doing that? When you open up a snap for the first time, is that it's kind of slow on its first startup. You should just be aware of that. And here it is, it's Firefox. Let's click it back open again, and you see it opened up normal at this point. This is their software center. Some things that you should feel familiar with. Things are broken down quite easily for you to see. This is easy to quickly find what you're looking for. Now remember, this is a long-term support, so you're going to be in this environment for a while. There can be some updates and things. I believe this is GNOME 42 with some of their elements that are still 41 and some of their applications, and I'm not sure if they're going to update those later or if they just couldn't get it ready in time. I'm not sure, but I did want you to be aware of that as we go through. If you care about that piece in the GNOME piece, there is some of those modern features with GNOME already set up for this long-term release. This software center is quite wonderful. And then I want you to see this as well. You are able to, with some of these, choose between the Snap package or the Deb package. So here's the example here. You've got your Snap image that you can get, or you could get the Deb pack, the Ubuntu typical way to install software. If you're unsure of which one to do, I would suggest you do some research, but essentially Some things for me that I use flat packs. I don't use snaps on my personal system, but there are some things that I like to kind of have separated from the rest of my system. One of those is my Steam. Steam is a flat pack that I'm using for my games, but that's just an example that you can see and use. It just seems to just kind of have it sandboxed and is less affected. One is less affected than by the other. So that's just a personal opinion. I'm sure there's some more scientific and proper reasons, but that's what I do. This is a very attractive startup. Also, how in the world can you make a jellyfish look beautiful when it's not in the water? This is how you do it. This is a very attractive look. They have like a bar on the left-hand side. You've got your bar on the top as well that you're very familiar with if you use GNOME. You've got your right-hand system tray with your power, your network, your settings, your shutdown menu, okay? Then you've got your center, notifications, calendar, do not disturb, as you are aware. Whenever this little thing comes up, guys, that is my virtual machine. I use VirtManager, and just be aware that's not a part of Ubuntu LTS. So you have this activities button. You click it, check it out. Workspaces, guys. Workspaces. Something that you can use. So if I search Firefox, and I select Firefox, and it is loaded here, I hit the Windows button or the super key for you. Now I can take advantage of these workspaces and move, and you can see now it's moved to the second workspace, and it also created another workspace. So there are 3 workspaces if I needed it, just so you know if you need the workspaces. Another thing that is a little unique to Ubuntu right now, the default bar over here to the left in a regular GNOME 42 install, a vanilla GNOME 42 install, whatever, is normally on the bottom. Just noting that. Something else of note, I see a folder down here on the bottom right-hand side. I don't know why it's there. I don't know. That's kind of a unique place to put it. But I will say the decorations on the file manager is pretty. I like that. That looks nice and clean. You can see your bar to the left. The file manager is quite nice and nifty. Now you can see what's been installed for Snap real quick. On that Snap folder, you have Thunderbird, you have Rhythmbox, which is for audio, you have LibreOffice, you've got the software place that we just checked out, and check it out, help. Ubuntu Desktop Guide, help. Visual overview, log out, power off, switch users, start applications, your desktop. Look, a bunch of information for you to read. You're probably like, well, Jeremy, I'm on YouTube. So I don't want to read, bro. I'll help you out the best I can, but I only have so much time in a day. The other piece, you see this little show applications button here. I will click it and check it out. You have the ability to immediately start these applications. So if I want to start this spreadsheet here, it will start up there. If I want to start this calculator here, it starts it there, then opens up a new workspace. You can do that, guys, no problem. And check it out, there it is. So Windows key, now I can go over here. I can access that calculator that was just there. Something else to check out and to see and of note for Ubuntu is this additional drivers piece. Being able to grab additional drivers, and you see here, no proprietary drivers in use, which means there was no need on my virtual machine for it to install that. That is great. If you needed it, it will be there, and any updates, it will be there. That is a nice touch that Ubuntu has. Their calendar app, I'll just click it open. It's GNOME Calendar, guys. So let's just see about calendar. Which one? You see how this says 41.2? It's not the 42 version, but there are elements of this desktop environment that are with GNOME 42. Just making you aware that some of the things they, for one reason or another, they decided to not update yet. Now it feels and looks, if not the same, stinking close, but you need to be aware that is the case. So we've got this activities like I showed you. You've got these applications here like I showed you. So I'm going to go ahead and click terminal, and I'm going to see what resources are being used. This is just if you are a person who has low resources, this is an important quick topic for you. If you decide, hey, I like the idea of an LTS, I like the idea of Ubuntu, let me see what's being used here, you have 1.2 gigabytes being used and 14 gigabytes available, just so you know. And then, idling, I have 99% of my processing power through the 8 cores on this virtual machine free. Typical GNOME situation on that, guys. And also, if you prefer seeing something a little more graphical, you can see this here. This is running 1.7 gigabytes, and you can see the CPUs working a little harder, getting the system monitor going. About the system monitor, this is the GNOME 42 version of the system monitor. So some of the applications are 41.2 or below 42, and some of them are 42. And this is one that is about GNOME 42. I'm going to see something real quick here. I'm clicking this. I see this style here. I want to go to settings, and I want to see a couple of things that can be updated and messed with. So we have our network situation, Bluetooth. It's already ready to go. We've got the background piece. You can see some of these other backgrounds that you have available. It looks like it was not a dark theme. Some of the menu items were dark, and some of this was light. Let's see here. So I can select the dark theme, and I can select a color, which is great. I'm going to choose the blue. Desktop icons, you can make them large. So you see this folder down here got bigger, right? Position of new icons. See, right now it's at the bottom right. You can set it to top left if you prefer for new ones coming up, but we'll just leave it down here. Show the personal folder. It gone. Auto hide the dock. Okay. Panel mode. You can see. You can do that. Or like this. So if I did this, I am closer to my Mac roots here. For me, visually, that's what I am used to, having those there. You can have this selected to only show on display 1 or all displays. Great. And we just checked the position. And we can have a couple things showing there, like the trash. If we don't want the trash showing there, it can be removed. Include unmounted volumes, include network volumes. Great. You've got your setting up your notifications, which can be very important in your daily tasks and how you work. Your search functions, when you search, where are you going to be searching from? Multitasking, setting up those hot corners, and things of that nature. Privacy setup, online accounts, you can see this here. Remote desktop. Setting up sound, nothing crazy here. Unlock to add users and change settings. Great, thank you very much. Setting up your date and time. And then about. So quickly being able to see what we have here. Ubuntu LTS 22.04. This is GNOME version 42. It is using Wayland, guys. So if you're used to, they're calling it the windowing system, but if you're used to X11, then this isn't using it. This is using Wayland, which is absolutely fine. I personally have not experienced much issues with Wayland, but I still am daily using X11. So just take that into consideration. I'm not ready yet, but they may be pushing me to get ready here soon. So we checked out the software. We checked out the desktop environment. We manipulated some of the desktop environment. We saw what was available. We saw the versions that were available. Remember, some things were GNOME 42, some things were not. Oh, we also installed the package. I'm going to see what happens when I try to install a package through the command line. Let's see what it does. I mean, this is something basic, right? Sudo apt install Audacity. And it's ready to install. I'm getting it from their Ubuntu repositories. This is a deb package. Boom, installed. So installing from a command line is great. I'm going to hit that little super key. Let's see. Audacity is right there. And here's Audacity. Installed and ready for you to use. Hey guys, this is pretty slick, pretty cool. What did we learn looking through and walking through with Ubuntu 22.04 LTS Jammy Jellyfish? I kind of like that name. You know what? I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, I'm not a big GNOME fan. The setup and the way that they have to easily configure some things for me, just like something simple like the dock, is really, really, really nice. I like that. Setting things up. There are ways for me. I may not want to use snaps. I prefer flat packs for no other good reason than I'm used to using them now. And there is a way to easily walk yourself through and set up flat packs and not use snaps if you prefer. But snaps are perfectly fine. I have nothing against them. And you have your classic deb packages from Ubuntu ready to go too. You should be able to work within this quite well. You should be able to do your daily tasks, do your fun stuff. You should be able to get that set up as well because your proprietary drivers are available from them and should be easily updated from Ubuntu as well. It's visually pleasing. It's great. You know, I wouldn't say it's a concern. I'm wondering what they're going to do with some of those packages that are 41.2 and are not 42. Do they plan on updating that later? It's really not a big deal because it was very difficult to discern, if at all, that if they looked or behaved any different than 42. So maybe I wouldn't care if I use this every day, but you should be aware if that's something that matters to you. The install process is straightforward and easy. It's pretty quick. The desktop environment here is easily workable, user-friendly. The applications that you have available to you, there are plenty. It uses, a decent amount of resources, so you should be aware of that if you have a low resource system. And also, if you don't like this desktop environment, they always have other spins with different desktop environments that you could check out. KDE, XFCE, for example, just so you know. But other than that, guys, this is going to be something that I think some people are going to be sitting with for the next 5 years and being okay with it, feeling pretty good about it. They might get curious. They may want to check some other things out. But if this is your daily work environment, it's a pretty good one. 2 thumbs up for me. Really glad you guys joined me today. See you next time.